Ninja just launched a countertop oven that can cook two completely different foods at the same time. Like toasting a bagel up top while cinnamon rolls bake down below, or even broiling nachos while air frying chicken wings. Which sounds great if it actually cooks everything properly.
So I'm putting 4 combinations to the test.
Starting with baking brownies on the top while I max crisp wings on the bottom. Now with our double oven here, the top here is a quartz toaster oven that has the functions of broil, toast, bagel, bake, reheat, and keep warm. And the bottom is an air fryer essentially. It has the functions of whole roast, air fry, convection bake, pizza, and max crisp. And both of them have adjustments for temperature, shade, number of slices, or all sorts of different adjustments depending on what you're cooking. So now let's set up our first 2 recipes, and as I go, I'm also gonna call out all of the little annoyances that the product has along the way so that you're prepared for all the little details. And the first thing that's annoying me is the length of this cord. It's only about 3 feet long, and because it's on the far left of the toaster over there, my outlet is on the right side. I have to move the toaster pretty close to the edge of my counter just to get this cord to barely reach my outlet. Obviously, you can set this up so the outlet is right behind this if you're actually using it, but if you've only got one space it can go and an outlet that's kind of far away, I think that's a bit annoying. Now, I've already got brownie batter prepared to bake brownies in the top, and I would love to throw it in this square baking pan right here, but I was just double checking and this pan just barely won't fit in. This way it fits height-wise, but not lengthwise, and the other way, it's just a little bit too wide. This is a standard 9x13 baking pan, so the fact that it can't fit already brings our annoyance counter to 2. But thankfully, I do have this round pan that will work, so I'll pour my batter into this, and we're just gonna make a round brownie today. And we'll get this loaded into the top here, and now let's prepare our wings. Now, when air frying something like wings, it says to put the wire rack on level 1, this sheet pan on top of that to catch any of the kind of oil or fatty drips, and then the air fryer basket with the wings goes on level 2. I was able to pretty comfortably fit 6 full-size wings. Now for our brownies on the top, I'm gonna set this to bake. The temperature is gonna go to 325, and the time is gonna be about 40 minutes according to the box. And then I'm gonna hit the bottom button to set up our air frying for the chicken wings. Those are gonna go at about 400 degrees for about 20 minutes. Now in the middle here, it's almost impossible to see. I didn't even realize it was the button, but there is a button right here that reads Smart Finish that you can see at the right angle. And what that's actually gonna do is time up our 2 cooks so that they finish at the exact same time. So even though the brownies are baking for 40 minutes and the wings for 20, it's just gonna delay the start time of the wings 20 minutes for us. So let's turn that on and click on our start button. You'll see we are preheating on the top to bake, and on the bottom it's holding until the Smart Finish catches up for us. Now I'll let these cook for the next 40 minutes or so until they're both ready, and then we'll take a look at the results and give them some scores based on timing, speed, and of course the results. Both recipes just finished cooking, and I'm super curious to see if we can both bake and crisp in one gadget at the same time. Now before we look at the results, one thing to note, the brownies finished about 10 minutes earlier than expected based on the timing on the box. So that's definitely a good start. The chicken wings finished right at the 20-minute mark. Now because the brownies finished 10 minutes early, but it was on the Smart Finish function, I was trying to stop the top oven while leaving the bottom one running, and honestly there was no good way to do it. I found a little trick that I used by playing around with it quite a bit, and basically while it was running, I went in here and adjusted the time left on the top to 55 seconds, which then interrupted the Smart Finish feature, turned it off, and I was able to pause the top after that. There was no other way to get the Smart Finish off. This was definitely a small annoyance, so I'm gonna add it to the counter and make that number 3 now. But now let's look at the results. Starting with our brownies on the top, I already did a bit of a knife test in there to make sure it was ready, but I'm curious to see how it looks on the inside, which we'll check in a second. And now for the wings on the bottom here, which are definitely looking nice and crisp and got some dark marks here from the seasoning and the crispiness of it all. But how crispy are they? Let's find out. I'll do a quick sound test on the crispiness of these. And it doesn't sound super crispy to me, but there's a little bit going on. Here's a quick test up to the mic. Not insanely crispy sounding, but a little bit going on. But let's do a bite test to check the crispiness too. It's certainly not the crispiest wing I've ever had, but I also used no oil while cooking. I'd probably put it at a 7 out of 10 for crispiness, which I think is pretty good for air frying wings without oil. And now for a check on the brownies. Let's go right in the middle here and just get a spoonful into there. And that is looking just lovely. Quick taste test with that. Other than the fact that it definitely just burned my entire mouth, it is gooey, chocolatey, and genuinely a perfectly cooked brownie. So now let's score this test. First of all, speed. Were they much faster or slower than we expected or what other devices could do? For the chicken wings, I'd say they were right about square on, but the brownie was 10 minutes or about 25% faster than a regular oven would bake it in. So I'm gonna give speed a solid 9 out of 10 for this test. Our second score is gonna be results timing. Did they finish at the same time? And well, for this one, the brownie finished 10 minutes early. So as a result, they did not finish at the same time. Of course, I wanted to cook faster, but if you were trying to line up two things at the same time together, well, this wouldn't have achieved that goal. I'm gonna give the result timing a 6 out of 10. It wasn't too far off, but it definitely wasn't close to perfect. And finally, the results. We've already talked about how that all turned out. I'm gonna go 9 out of 10 for results. I'd be really happy eating both of those foods. Now for test number 2, we're gonna use both of our ovens at the same time to make an entire breakfast that's ready to eat. Now on the top, we are going to make a bagel, and it says to put the cut side up, so we're gonna do just that. But also out of curiosity, I'm just gonna put a whole bagel on the top here as well, so we can compare the results between both of them. And on the bottom, I am going to convection bake cinnamon rolls. Now, I was able to fit the entire set of 8 cinnamon rolls that it comes with, so let's get that closed up too. And on the top, we're just gonna choose our bagel setting. I've technically got 4 slices of bagels, and it looks like you can set the shade anywhere from level 1 to 7. I love it right in the middle, so let's go with 4. And in the bottom, I'm gonna set this to convection bake. And it says to cook it at 350 for about 15 minutes or so. So let's do that. Click our smart finish once again, and let's get this started. And as expected, our bagel is holding. I'm guessing that's only gonna take a few minutes. And now in about 15 minutes, let's see if they finish at the same time. Our test just finished, and I was super curious how long the bagels were gonna cook. So I was keeping an eye on it, and when these cinnamon rolls had about 7 minutes left, that's when the bagels started cooking. Now, come take a look at the results. Now, first up, the bagels, and what you're gonna immediately notice is that the bagels are absolutely burnt. I set this on a 4 out of 7 crisp level, and if that's not a 7 out of 7, I'm kind of scared of what would be. Now, like I mentioned, these started cooking at 7 minutes left. I looked at them when they had 3 minutes left still, so only 4 minutes into cooking, and they already looked like this, so I turned the top oven off. I'm a little bit surprised at how off their timer was on their own bagel setting. But now come look at the cinnamon rolls. Now, one thing to note with these is I did flip the tray around about halfway through cooking because this one that's now in the front was looking pretty raw, while the ones that were in the front before were looking almost done. However, after the full 15 minutes with the rotation, now all the cinnamon rolls are looking pretty perfect to me. So of course, we've got to get a little bit of icing on the top, because what is a cinnamon roll without icing? And now let's get it cut in half to check on the inside as well. And that is looking doughy and pretty much just perfect to me. There's really no reason for me to taste test the bagel. I know it's gonna be too burnt and crispy, but how about the cinnamon roll? And yeah, I'd say the cinnamon roll is cooked pretty much to perfection. But now let's score the test. Starting with speed once again, the cinnamon rolls came out right in the time that I expected them to. Maybe even were done a minute or two before I pulled them. The bagel was fully burnt at the 4-minute mark, and so was probably ready around the 2 to 3 minute mark, which honestly is very fast for toasting a bagel. Now, of course, I wish that the oven itself knew how long to toast it and didn't just burn it on its own. But for speed, I feel like I have to go 10 out of 10 for this test. In terms of result timing, I'm still finding it really hard to match up when the two are ready, even with the smart finish function, mostly because the time is pretty unpredictable. unpredictable. Of course, if you use the gadget for a long time, maybe that changes. But for now, they were still 4 minutes off on a 15-minute test. I have to go 6 out of 10 on timing. And for results, the bagel is pretty inedible, and that's with me pulling it early. These cinnamon rolls are good, however. I'm gonna go straight down the middle, 5 out of 10 on results. For test number 3, I wanna put both the top and bottom ovens through as much heat as possible and see if they still cook just as fast as expected. So to do that, we're gonna broil nachos on the top, and on the bottom, we are going to air fry frozen French fries. So the top switches over to broil, and I think about 2.5 minutes is gonna be plenty for broiling these nachos. The bottom is gonna set to air fry at 400 degrees, and they need 8 to 10 minutes according to the package. Let's go 8 because things are cooking faster. Of course, we'll use our smart finish once again, although this timing is going to rely on how much time it actually takes to broil, which is pretty much just a complete guess, but let's start it off. And hopefully this time we can get some better results without burning one of the two foods. Our test is now complete, and for the first time so far, I didn't have to end either of these settings early. They look like they're pretty synced up, but let's look deeper into the results. First up, our broiled nachos on the top, and I would say 2.5 minutes was pretty much perfect here. This is exactly how I want my cheese to look with broiled nachos. And now the French fries on the bottom, and once again, I can't say anything more than those look perfect. They are nice and golden and seem pretty crispy. We'll of course taste that to make sure. Let's dive into tasting a nacho first. They're crispy, the cheese is perfectly golden and brown and crispy as well. I've really got no complaints with the nachos. And now for the French fries. Yeah, those are pretty crispy too. I really wouldn't want French fries to be any crispier than this. I think they're pretty much cooked to perfection as well. So for result timing on this one, for the first time, we have a 10 out of 10. They timed up exactly perfectly. For the speed, I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. It was basically right at expected for speed time. And for results, this test has to get a 10 out of 10. Both results pretty much perfect as I would want them. Our fourth and final test is going to be frozen foods. Can we toast frozen waffles perfectly on the top at the same time as baking a frozen pizza on the bottom? The top is gonna set to toast 4 slices, and I will go up to the shade for level 4, right in the middle once again. And for the bottom, we are going to the pizza setting at 400 degrees for 7 minutes. Which is what's recommended for this pizza. Let's sync them up and get them started. And I'm actually surprised that the waffles are taking longer here. I thought it was gonna be the other way around, but they are 7 minutes and 20 seconds. So the pizza should start any second as well. So in almost exactly 7 minutes, we'll find out what the results look like. Will they sync up together? Let's find out. I let both of the tests run to their exact time that it was set for. Now let's take a look at the results. First up, our waffles. And somehow, unlike our bagels, these actually look like they cooked to perfection in the amount of time that it recommended. So I don't know what went wrong with the bagel. And now our frozen pizza. I'm not gonna lie, the pizza itself looks like a pretty sad frozen pizza, but it is pretty golden brown around the edges and it feels nice and warm. And the bottom looks perfectly cooked as well. Let's do a quick taste test of the waffle first, but overall it's already sounding super crispy. Very crispy on the outside, but somehow still nice and fluffy in the middle. This is probably a perfectly cooked frozen waffle in my opinion. Now for a slice of this frozen pizza. It's not bad, but it definitely needed another minute or two. Now the package said 7 to 9 minutes and I went for 7 minutes because everything's been cooking quickly, but this probably needed closer to 9 minutes. With that being said, there's a little bit of a crunch to it, and overall the pizza is cooked super well. The sauce is just a little bit cold, and there's not a ton of crisp in the crust. So for speed on this one, I'd say it was pretty much right at expected. The waffles cooked in the exact amount of time that our toaster expected them to, and the pizza the same. If I would have went inside of that range a little bit further up, it would have been perfectly cooked. So not faster, not slower. We're gonna go 8 out of 10 for speed. In terms of timing, we've actually started to time this thing well somehow. The first 2 tests didn't work out well for us. The last 2, the timing has been pretty much perfect. I gotta go 9.5 out of 10 on timing. And for results, as I just mentioned, the waffle, perfect. The pizza, pretty good, just a little bit cold in the sauce. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10 for results. So overall, would I recommend Ninja's new double oven? Well, for me personally, I don't find myself cooking 2 of these things that it can do at the same time very often. And I don't really find myself wanting to do that either. Now, I'm just cooking for 2 people in a household. If you're cooking for 4, 5, 6 plus people, I could totally see an use case for wanting to cook 2 different things at the same time. And everything it cooked, aside from burning the bagels, which you could of course adjust to less time in the future, knowing that it overcooks the bagels, everything else was cooked pretty well. So if you're in that situation where you want to cook 2 things at the same time, I think this gadget's probably perfect for you. Whenever Ninja releases new products, I always test them thoroughly and let you know my thoughts on them all. And if you want to see every Ninja product that I've ever reviewed, they are all in this playlist right here.